best start of the split began, but here we are anyway. LGD on our blue side, Yone, Renekton, and Braum bans. Those are not the bans I would have expected to see on blue side.
I actually like the focus towards the blind Renekton. At least that would be potentially the case for LNG. It is just going to be the go button, though, for JinJiao, and we have seen this rise a lot here recently in the Leona first pick on blue side.
We certainly have. It's going to be answered with an Ezreal. Would not be at all surprised to see that Sejuani. The other option as well is if you do want to get one of your stronger solo laners, if there's a priority there. I mean, Tristana is open and available, but the Sejuani will be locked in. And with the Yone gone, maybe it could be a Jace angle for Scout. That could be a good takeaway for LGD, just to try and deny that melee mid lane synergy with the Sejuani.
Let's see if the actual setup here is going to come through. Yeah, all right. So the big pick I feel like really recently has been the Lilia. It's been a little bit of a dip, but then like last night we saw Tien just absolutely monster 2 games in a row on that pick. Love the setup, love the clear speed, and it's going to enable Meteor to be very active.
I feel like Meteor definitely a player that is proficient on this kind of pick. It's not been that successful, but realistically, when your scoreline looks like LGD's, statistically, your picks are not going to look that good, regardless of how they actually looked on the Rift. The Tristana does come through for Haichao, though, not too surprising there. There's LNG now. I'd expect them to lock in one of the solo lanes. Maybe there's a small argument for grabbing your support now to match up with the Leona, but I don't expect that to be pinched too hard. But you could look for the mid lane so you don't have to blind anything top, and Scout goes back to the Azir, old school in the mid lane.
Ooh. Hey, a classic for him. I'd love to see it, but it also gives you a ton of sustained damage and maybe a little bit of setup potential. Scout is one to do, it feels like, in a lot of regards. But now it is also looking at the ADC pool, maybe to try to get away that 2v2 down there. They're going to take away the Jhin, so maybe utility in the bot side could be the focus for LNG so far.
Also just really good at contesting early prio, which is one of the things Ezreal's quite good at in the first couple of levels. So Jhin, one of those champions that can contend with him there. Perhaps could be an angle for a Kai'Sa ban as well, just because Kai'Sa can have a very good matchup into the Ezreal, especially once you hit that level 6, if everyone moves up to the top side. But in Misfortune, going to be removed instead. I'm still undecided on Misfortune as a pick, honestly. I feel like we've seen some really good games of Misfortune. We've seen a lot of kind of whatever games from Misfortune, which is a champion that you expect to snowball and take over.
I mean, it's easy to play into, right? Like, if you have you know what's coming, right? So you can play around it to some extent. So when you have that big wombo combo, we have seen a lot of teams just be decisive enough to upend that. It is going to be the Camille Jax ban, though, by LGD. So definitely trying to take away some of the power potential, the side laning away from Zika. Right now, the Alistar, though, is a really nice setup tool for Hung to kind of combine with WeiWei and make sure they themselves can be proactive.
I feel like this LNG composition is just like absolute classic top-level league comp, right? Where you've got Ezreal Azir, you've got Sejuani in the jungle, you've got an Alistar for the hard engage. I guess we go Cassante top, right? Just to round out, or I guess Renekton would have been the classic. But Cassante definitely has replaced him as the premium at the minute. With Nardo for Burdol, do you want to go for the Cassante? It is a bit of a tougher laning phase. There are some options available to try and go into the Gnar, more aggressive options, but it's whether you want to play with a little bit more risk up in that top side. The Rumble was nerfed on this patch, but we've seen it a couple of times, and Zika will happily slam that once again. He's 100% win rate over 3 games on Rumble so far.
Last night, we were seeing a ton of bans going over to the Rumble as well, so I'd love to see this setup. We'll need to see how it plays through a lot of the activity that WeiWei is going to have Hung as well, but I also kind of like the Gnar in this setup. You have so much of those spacing ultimates and so much of that follow-up CC for LGD to pinpoint a target and take them down. That is the biggest focus right now, it feels like, for them, and I like that they're giving themselves that kind of ease option.
Yeah, it'll be down to how LNG are positioning, though, with Azir, with Rumble, and with Ezreal. It's quite easy to space out in these fights and not give a good opportunity over to that Gnar. And I will say, in terms of, like, we talked ease of execution earlier on, LNG They've got easy go buttons in that of the Sejuani and the Alistar. They've got powerful DPS. They've got big team fight ultimates. Like that. That's a good little list, right? That's a good little list of useful tools to use. And LNG, their laning has certainly improved since the start of the year. You'd expect them to, in theory, be coming out with some advantages there. It'll be a question of prio, though, if they can battle that one out. I mean, only time will tell. We've got our two compositions. Color Caster Mazel, what do you reckon?
All right, I'm definitely looking at these mid-jungle duos. I want to see who's going to be getting prio in mid lane, more specifically. Scout and Haichao can be winning conditions for their two teams, but it's going to rely on WeiWei and Meteor's pathing throughout the map and see where they're able to delve out resources, more specifically for the side of WeiWei. But we're getting into game one now. It's sure to be fun. Oh, I heard some. I heard them.
Yeah.
They were there. I heard something.
That was rough. That was rough.
A little rough.
Nobody wanted to be the cheerleader, right? There was like a game of chicky with us in the Jios there. I think we laid out just a little too early, but it's what it is. There's Gala and Hung already starting aggressive in this one. Let's talk about how the early map is likely to go, though, because up in the top lane, we've got Rumble versus Gnar. Obviously, Gnar having a bit of a range advantage, but Rumble's so good at getting the push in the top side. The Tristana you'd expect to be winning out early against the Nazir. I don't think that one's too surprising. I feel like for Meteor, he wants to try and clear as swiftly as possible, outpace WeiWei, maybe try and influence the lane, or maybe just try and get a Scuttle Crab advantage.
And that's something we have seen, at least in terms of Lilia trying to get ahead of most matchups in the jungle section, is like just being able to outfarm. Now, Sejuani can get a little bit aggressive and move in for some invades, potentially to try to stop that. But WeiWei, he's going to be really waiting till that level 6 to have those go buttons, and when that does become the case, they'll be going all the time.
Bit of sparring in the bottom lane already, not too surprising, as looks like LNG will have the level 2 advantage here. Just a couple of minions away after this one. And you expect LGD to respect this. You hope that they'll respect this. We have seen this bottom lane from LGD get caught out by level 2 spikes before. It's not something that you hope to see in the LPL at the highest level. In Group Ascend, you'd hope people know to respect level 2 spikes, and LGD will do so this time around.
And that's also like one of the curious conversations here is the LPL. I mean, we've seen every team beat every team at some moment in the past, but it's also an LNG who, if they can take this, right, they'll rise to 6-1. I mean, that's a massive statement, right? You're going to be looking at securing yourself a first or second place here in this group, and I think it's something where LGD have an opportunity to do something really funny, just like NIP did last night, but it's also a situation where LNG need to win this cleanly if they want to cement themselves as one of those top teams.
It'll be interesting to see as well how this split finishes for LNG in the context of the standings, right? Because as you say, this will be their 6th win. They'll have 1 series remaining. So their best available score right now could be 7-1. Their final opponent will be, hang on a second, and in the bottom side, JinJiao trying to get aggressive as Hung gets a CC chain. Shaoye getting some good damage on Hung in response as well. Won't lead to summoners being burnt, just a heavy trade. But their final opponent, LNG, is going to be anyone's legend. A team that started Group Ascend at the top of the standings, haven't been able to maintain that position. They've kind of fallen away as LNG have risen to the top. So I do feel like that could turn into quite an intense series, honestly, especially for anyone's legend, who are, you know, they're currently in playoffs, but the difference between 6th and 7th is an entire round of playoffs like that. You don't want to be in 7th, you want to be in 6th.
And also adding insult to injury, they're on a massive slump, right? Like they've lost to 3 massive teams in a row: JDG, WeiWei, and Top Esports. 2 of those being 2-0s back to back, and I think it's just something you have to watch out for. But LG going to be taking advantage of that, hopefully. LGD though, I really think they have set themselves up with a pretty stable situation, especially with how much Haichao's been able to push out Scout, as is tradition here. But I think the more important part is that we're going to be getting to a bit of aggression.
Engage from Hung. Shaoye will be able to flash and cleanse his way to safety. But I love the aggression out from this LNG bot lane. The second that JinJiao isn't there, Hung hunts for an opportunity.
I mean, hey, Alistar is primo meta in for a reason, it feels like, because a lot of the plays you can make, the flash headbutts, but now he also has Hex Flash still available. They can make a play again.
They certainly can. Hung getting aggressive. And also both summoners on cooldown here. If WeiWei hits level 6, maybe Shaoye could be a target. Although I kind of expect WeiWei to be looking towards the top side of the map, realistically. That is where your melee synergy is. That's that Sejuani. You want to have a melee champion to build up your stacks for you. Maybe the Grubs could be the target with Zika having such control of the top lane. Maybe that is the opportunity for LNG.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon still being up. We have seen, especially last night, I mean, a lot of teams just weren't even going for early Dragons. We're seeing Dragons at like 8, 9, 10 minutes in. But see if Grubs is going to be started up anywhere close to spawn. Both junglers are going to be on this side of the map as well, as we already have move from JinJiao and Hung.
Certainly do. Could be a scrap on that top side. I mean, Scout level 6, so he's got that Emperor's Divide, but Azir not exactly a champion fit. Oh, Hung is getting cheeky with it. He's not been spotted. Okay, he's going to Hex Flash out the back of the pit to keep himself safe for now. As WeiWei moves in. It's going to be a smite off for the first one. Meteor grabs that. WeiWei could do with getting at least
Haichao
one of
has
these
first
Grubs. Certainly does. That's WeiWei grabbing one. So at least we'll get the double XP for that first Grub, and I think LNG, they're happy with that. They got the one.
They got the one. They can come back and fight for the next spawn there. But it will be really nice for LGD to get 2 Grubs. It sets them up to try to get those 4. Obviously, Haichao.
Oh, look at this. Engage from Scout. The follow-up from Hug as well. Haichao has to dip into topside river just to survive. Holds onto his flash, though. So all things considered, not too bad for him. Didn't lose out on too much as the 1v1 down bot. Shaoye is a full level down at this point. Still not hitting that level 6. There we go. Finally hits it. Maybe has an opportunity, but Hung is in the area. I don't know if Shaoye knows that. Nice little true shot. Gala is really layering the pressure down in the bot lane.
Yeah, he is. And we actually see if they can punish that in any regard, because both junglers are going to finish up their clears on that bot side as well. WeiWei has hit level 6 now, so has Meteor. I think it's going to be really big to see the up in tempo by LNG.
So Drake will be the call for LNG with the pressure down in the bottom side. They can take control of this one. So they got one of the Grubs and they get the Drake. It's a minor win overall for LNG. Nothing too significant. Gold's still dead even at this point, but still a positive start to the game for them. And all things considered, it's going fairly smooth. One thing I will point out, Scout pretty far down in CS so far. Haichao doing well in the early parts of this laning phase. Double recall cancel though from Scout. He'll feel happy with that one.
Yeah, I think actually getting that is huge. It's been really cool to see some of the little minute base stops be actually super impactful here recently, the LPL as well. But I think in all actuality, it'll be just fine. The clear speed for Meteors to be picking up super big now that he's got the Faded Ashes as well.
Yeah, he's going to start tearing through that jungle. I think the biggest lead on the map right now, down in that bottom lane, Gala has already got 2 plates for himself. I feel like we're seeing some significant lane discrepancies, right? With a big CS lead for Haichao, quite a big CS lead for Zika, Gala with a CS lead and a couple of plates as well. We are starting to see partly the prowess of the players, but more importantly, the value of these picks, like Rumble. Like one of the biggest reasons you pick the Rumble is just he never seems to lose lane. He pretty much always seems to win lane. I think Meteor was spotted there. He's going to try and sneak in, but Zika has full information. Okay, Meteor realizes. Goes for the sweeper.
Gets a little extra golem, you know? Hey, it's a little something. It's something. You'll take that for LGD. No, but it's going to be a state where WeiWei is going to have the forward hand now.
This is smart from WeiWei, because he knows Meteor will recall off of the ward. That's a flash out from Burdol. Nice, like, little punish there from WeiWei.
and they can revisit that. And I actually would really like to see them do so, because this is one of the first times we're getting to see the Rumble come through. It's been banned away a ton, but it's also a PowerPoint that if you give a little bit of gold to, will have a ton of setup potential for you, and already up in CS in the lane too.
All right, no. Burdol dives in as he turns mini. I don't think that was the timing he was looking for. Burdol, what was that?
Bold, Cotton, bold as, oh God, Scout.
Shaoye. Yeah, has to use his killer instinct. He'll be okay. Yeah, I mean, what? I'm not really sure what's happening on the map right now. Suddenly, we just have people going in and either barely surviving or not surviving at all in the context of Burdol.
And I just talked about what a little bit of a lead can do for Zika on the Rumble, and they will have that now. Just sub 1,000 there, but also potentially repunishable since that flash won't be up for a little while. There is the next spawn of grubs, though. I think it's really important that LNG try to position themselves to deny as much of this as possible, because LGD have the Tristana. Really, really good tower pushing there. Oh, Gala's
in a very aggressive position. Does have his flash, and actually he'll just be fine. Nobody really commits much except to Zed has played towards him. So he'll walk away. Just trying to fight for mid-prio as aggressively as possible as those grubs do spawn on the map. No Equalizer available, no Emperor's Divide available, no Glacial Prison available. I don't know if this is a good fight for LNG.
You're going to try to pick somebody out. You got to remember, these are these squishier members over here. They're waiting to get Burdol down. He does have Meganar pop now, but it's going to be coming down quick. LGD maybe feeling a little bit fearful, actually.
And honestly, this is good for LNG. The longer this stalemate goes on, the more of those ultimates will become available. Who needs them? They just dive on in onto JinJiao. They've got a 5v3 to start the fight. Haichao and Burdol finally arriving. The sleep onto 3. Solar Flare comes in. And WeiWei taken out of the picture. LNG still with 4 members trying to fight this one out as Gala's 1v1ing Burdol on the top side. And Scout getting AoE down. There's the smite out from Meteor. Jump forwards from Gala here as they try and finish off these health bars. LGD so low as Zika finishes one, and Gala's chasing for more, finds the snipe as LGD sent away, losing a 5v4 with an equalizer. It's going from bad to worse for LGD. Emperor's Divide just came over the last second, and Meteor can't finish the kills. It's one snipe for Burdol, but one giant leap for LNG.
Somebody just cracked open the bank vault and gold just started spilling out everywhere. We literally had 1 kill in 10 minutes, and now it's 2-5. LNG come out massively. They will deny at least the 4 grub, but we got fights.
We certainly do. JinJiao might have gone in too early, though. I don't know if he can survive long enough here. He's pretty tanky. Haichao's arrived, but now he's alone in the play. Burdol gets onto the scene. 1-for-1 in the re-engaged version of the fight as Gala doesn't have any sums, and Burdol has found him in a 1v1. What is happening in the map right now as Scout gets another one? Zika's re-arrived on the scene as he comes in the bottom side of that river. And look at Shaoye. Shaoye's like, you know what, lads? I'm getting a minion wave.
Let's calm down a little bit. We don't even need any kind of color casting here. It's just go buttons and fighting by LNG and LGD. Speaking of.
Oh, Scout. He's caught underneath the tower. Oh my god, Burdol. 2 solo kills in a single fight. Burdol kills off Gala, kills off Scout. Revenge for that death in the laning phase.
Zika's just like, guys, what happened? Burdol is 4-1 now. Both top laners gonna have massive impact on this game as well. Zika getting his own little bit of goal. Oh, come on.
What is going on? What is in the water? Like,
I
don't know what has inspired
I don't
these
need
players.
to talk about what's happening. It's perfect.
I mean, yeah, for us, as a double play-by-play, this is the perfect game right now. It's a killer minute so far as LGD grab themselves a Drake. Doesn't look like LNG are. I daren't say they're not contesting, because I feel like any time an objective, even if it's not up, even if it's just been up at some point, feels like these teams will fight over it right now.
Nobody even finished off the grubs. They despawned now. We'll have the Rift Herald coming up soon. There was that dragon obviously now setting up an Infernal Soul, which actually I think is really big for both these teams. So the dragon priority just kind of shot through the roof here. But it's just so crazy to me that literally under 10 minutes we had 1 kill, and then all of a sudden we're at a kill a minute. And it all started off because LGD were just willing to fight. And I think in a lot of cases like this, LNG are going to outhand you. I think you're taking advantage of some of the split fighting nature of this, but this is the latter half of the fight after the first series had already gone down.
Yeah, I mean, Gala traded for Haichao, the supports traded, and then Scout just oversteps. I mean, this was honestly LNG kind of winning the play because they won the previous fight, and then this was LGD's answer to them winning that fight, right? Scout overstepping means it ends up being a positive play for LGD. However, then Zika just walks up and kills Burdol, so then it becomes a neutral play again. I guess the only advantage from all of that was the fact that LGD got one extra grub, so Meteor gets one jungle camp ahead.
Yep, that's what we'll say. We'll come away with it that way. So he will also have the Leandries completed now coming out of base, so a little bit of strength there, but LNG, we're looking to start up the Rift Herald, and that'll get some standing gold for them out on the map. But this is also a situation we can talk a little bit about that forward engage, that setup that is so strong for LNG. We are seeing some of the damage profiles rebuff that a little bit now that we're getting first items as well. It might even make that a little bit more difficult to handle. LGD holding their heads a little bit above water here, even if they're starting to drown.
It's definitely LNG with the advantage, isn't it? It feels like, despite the fact that the similar number of kills went over in that previous skirmish, like, all of the kills on LGD are on Burdol right now, and he's still 1,000 gold down in the top side. Scout now has an advantage after losing out early in the laning phase. Gala is massively ahead in the bot side. Like, doesn't feel like there are many advantages for LGD. They want to make an advantage in this top side as Burdol actually flashes forward, looking for the Mega Gnar, gets the double stun, Solar Flare comes on in. It's a great little combo for LGD, and Meteor sweeps up his first kill.
That's a lot of shutdown gold going to Meteor as well there. Oh, and not only off the back of his first item completion, but now going to have some extra gold in the pocket there. LNG, we're trying to answer in mid lane with an outer turret, but it's LGD that'll get a play off on top side, even though they're pretty far behind now. LNG might be looking to try to get a recoup of their gold.
So nice little advantage for them. 10 seconds without the enemy top laner on the map. Perhaps Burdol gets an opportunity to look towards the tier 1 in the top side. Scala trying to do a similar thing in the mid lane, but LGD 4 players in the area to defend that tower. I don't know if Burdol can really stick around on that top side. Yeah, he will channel the reset. Drake's coming up in a minute and a half. They need to be on the map. They need to have spent their gold. They need to be ready for that reset. Let's take another look.
They just knew. Yeah, they just knew that they had the angle here. They were bringing way more. Nice flash from Burdol there. Because if he doesn't flash that one, he's locked down enough to where they can't get away. Or they do get away, rather. Zika tries to fight his best, but I think giving that shutdown gold in the end over to Meteor is actually massive now because he has Seekers, and that's a huge spike for the Lilia.
Huge flash there from Burdol. I didn't even see on the... When we saw it live, I didn't even notice that he had actually flashed over WeiWei's ult. I thought it was an early flash. I was so incredibly wrong. Great little flash there. This has been a very high and low game for Burdol, hasn't it? He's had some insane moments. He's also had some terrible moments. I've never seen an individual game look this dramatic, I guess. WeiWei tries to get in the Herald, spite it away.
Couple solo kills, couple fights at top, you know, just see what happens on a day, average day in the top lane.
Couple of solo kills, couple of solo deaths, you know how it is.
We don't count those, don't worry about it.
Drake coming up though, 30 seconds time. It does feel like LNG are the ones in control of the map right now. Scout's moved up to the top side as he has his TP available. Look at this though. Haichao wants to set up for a dive onto Scout. This will mean LNG get themselves this Drake pretty much for free.
They don't have Mega Gnar though. They're gonna have to use Burdol's Mini Gnar to get this, and Scout's just killing him here now. Haichao goes over.
Oh no! He's already used the jump as well. Burdol trying to get him. Zonya's isn't enough, I don't think so, but with the shield it is! Gets back under the tower, clears the minion wave, Haichao comes under! And they will survive, barely! A fair effort from Scout, but LGD get the dive.
Dude, Scout is trying to outplay his best there. Can't do it in the end, though. And unfortunately goes down. LNG, though, have taken complete control of this bottom side of the map. They'll be getting themselves a second dragon and start that stacking for themselves. Haichao getting nice standing gold for LGD in the side lane, though, himself.
I can't believe how hard that was for Haichao and Burdol. Scout. Full raid boss mode right there, where, like, if they didn't come in beforehand and already know the strategy, they're absolutely screwed. Enrage timer very much kicked in after the dash. I mean, just great trading from Scout to start aggressive on Burdol.
I think the fact that he's able to get the separation there is massive, but this right here, like out of it. I'm just saying, Burdol needs to go ahead and go watch one of those Mazel videos because the timing there, Scout actually has a really, really good clutch time, and he almost gets the kill back on the Haichao.
Yeah, Haichao auto flash immediately away just to finish that kill and get out of dodge. Whew, intense game. Haichao also starting with a Bloodthirster in the mid lane instead of, we usually see like the Kraken Slayer, etc. But I suppose with the amount of damage coming out at long range from the enemy team, I can definitely see the merit of a Bloodthirster.
I actually like the sustain for it. I'm just wondering about the damage profile, especially for a composition that's going to need a lot of follow-through. I want to see the second item, third item be able to come through for LGD. On the other side, you are getting to the kind of second item spike for LNG. Here we go, though. Gala. That's a cleanse.
Cleanse forced down. It is Solar Flare used, though, which is the main engage tool for LGD. So I don't know if
only.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Aside from just throwing their faces at the enemy, which is an option with a Leona and an R, to be fair. And to be honest, with Haichao's jumps, that seems like it's an option too so far this game. But LNG seem like they're in control and seem like they're quite happy to take a slower pace of game. Even though there's quite a lot of kills, I feel like we had one very small section of the game where it was just abject chaos for a moment.
Yeah.
And we had a very quiet first 10 minutes, and we've had a very quiet recent 5 minutes, you know? It feels like we're just like, you know, gentleman's agreement for the time being. When we're fighting, we're absolutely fighting. But let's just take 10 minutes, and then we'll return to the chaos.
Everybody's calming down just a little bit. This is also kind of the conversation we started at the beginning of it, and an LNG who has picked up their tempo in a lot of ways, but also we did know them for the longest time as being one of these slow, methodical teams. So maybe being able to bring back a little bit of that reference here for LNG in this first game at least, but they're going to be looking to get some picks here. I think WeiWei is itchy on the trigger finger of this Glacial Prison and get something going for them.
But equally as well, I think LNG, you know, they are a team that historically has played slow. I don't think it's out of their comfort zone to just kind of chill for a bit. It's Infernal Soul as well. They've already got 2 Drakes for themselves. Like, stacking those up sounds pretty great. You've got an Azir that's now hit 2 items. Maybe that is the ghost sign. Maybe that is the moment. But equally, I mean, look at Shaoye right now. Shaoye is so far behind at this point. Even if you have an argument for scaling within your own composition, I feel like just punishing the fact that the enemy carries are so far, or at least the enemy bot lane carry is so far behind, like, you still have the advantage, right? Without the scaling.
Oh, no.
Once again, 2v1 under the tower. This time, it works out for LGD.
Hey, they get it. They don't have any trouble, and they get the outer tower, too, so they'll get a ton of gold. And they have shrunk this lead down to about 1,000 gold for LNG, or a really big performance from LGD. Again, this was a series that LNG should be just absolutely running through, and the fact that they're being given a little bit of timing here. It's obviously LNG that we were talking about being fine as time goes on in this game, but it's nice to see some life from LGD.
It's great to see from LGD, and much needed from LGD. We came in saying, you know, we want to see a little bit more from this team. We want to see the team that we saw in placements, that showed proactivity, that showed the ability to contend with top teams. Remember, this is a team that beat BLG during the placement series.
Well, the only ones.
And the question remains, how did that happen? Was it just, you know, lightning in a bottle? Or, I guess, lightning not in a bottle.
It was Meteor and Haichao. But that's the thing. That's what we've said is, like, these guys, this top trio, they can make or break every single game. And we've seen that a lot in even the same game in a lot of cases. So I think it's just about that consistency that I feel like just keeps rearing its head across the LPL, because we cannot stay consistent. We have to have chaos.
Certainly controlled chaos here for LNG so far, or at least they're trying to control the chaos. I don't know if we could say it has been controlled, but LGD, their biggest win condition so far has just been trying to single out Scout. It has worked. It's sort of gone pear-shaped a little bit as well. So, Burdol It's found a good flank, but spotted on a ward in the end. Drake started by LGD, and
JinJiao.
oh my god, JinJiao tries to start the fight. He was hoping for Burdol follow-up, but he just evaporated. And now LNG can move straight into the river. Meteor sent away. He wants to get in for... No, don't hit him into the Drake. Okay, doesn't get the smite. Hunger's going to go down as Haichao is free-firing. It's a good equalizer. Shaoye separated as WeiWei goes down. He's 3v3 right now, and Haichao's looking for more onto Gala as well. Flash available for Gala. Might have to use it. Used it too late. And it's a triple for Haichao. Zika down. LGD, they lose the Drake, but they can go Baron.
Who are the three people on your screen right now? It's Burdol, it's Meteor, and it's Haichao. The three guys that can step up when it matters most, and now they are going to force the hand of LNG.
I don't know how on earth that worked out for LGD after JinJiao just sent it at the start of the fight, but here we are. They're on the Baron. WeiWei's not up for 8 more seconds. JinJiao has arrived back on the scene. That is a Baron for LGD in exchange for Soul Point, but also a boatload of gold into Haichao's pocket.
Yeah. We have to take a look how this started off. So JinJiao was already getting extremely poked here. Realizes he might have an angle, doesn't get Gala in the end, but the threat of Burdol pushes LNG a little bit to the edge. They're a bit hesitant to move forward. They do end up getting the dragon, but look at Shaoye on the other side of the fight here. He is completely splitting the focus of LNG. Scout moves over. That's already his Zonya's down. And then you start getting to a point where LGD reposition after they lose Shaoye, getting a ton of damage off, but this front to back is what Haichao wants all day long.
I feel like LNG just didn't have their priorities straight. They hadn't figured out how they wanted to play the situation. Like you say, good positioning from Shaoye to single out Zika and force him separate. It was good Zonyas from Scout to deny Burdol's ultimate, but it wasn't enough to survive the play. And all things considered, LNG falling short in the fight. Haichao left to just hammer away. Take over now, 12-10. It's a slight gold lead for LGD, but JinJiao is found again. He's just not tanky, is he?
He just can't find a break, man. It feels like every series for LGD. JinJiao is unfortunately just getting caught a little bit overboard, and now...
Meteor, that's not your team. I don't know if you maybe he seemed to be standing with his teammates there, then suddenly realized that's not his teammates. You got way too close.
Well, unfortunately for LGD, they do still have a lead. They were able to carve that one back for the first time in the game itself, but they keep having little blunders. And honestly, it's been a big part to what has been a big issue for LGD. We do see them getting a side lane tier 2, though, for a little bit of that standing gold to Burdol.
Reset through for Burdol. We'll be able to get it out. I wasn't sure if Zika would just like blast the equalizer, but then I checked on the interface and he didn't have his equalizer. So I don't know what I was worried about.
Good thing that we have the interface at least.
Well,
imagine if we didn't have any of the timers or anything. You just had to guess. We had to keep the timers as casters.
I mean, that is a thing. Sometimes the interface breaks, right? And then,
That's true.
You lose everything. And I suddenly realized quite how dependent I am on the timers. JinJiao.
It's like the internet.
Just, yeah, I guess he felt he needed to face check that, but realistically, I'm not sure that that was a serviceable play.
Why? They just throwing shade at Zika at the end. I can appreciate Meteor step back up there. He's trying to get the speed up from the passive as well, but unable to do so. Now, though, we do have about 1:20 for the next dragon. It's an Infernal Soul for LNG. There is no world that you want to give this over to this style of team composition. And I think they're going to try to get as much pressure around these lanes for LGD as possible. And you can see that they're trying to keep it in the mid and bot as much.
Does feel like Gala has lost the ability now to contest mid prio. With the static shift there for Shaoye and a Kraken Slayer. He does plenty of damage. He can pretty much one-shot those waves. The question is, can LNG actually cleanly take this Drake? Because we saw last time around they got the Drake, but the fight was a disaster for them. Rumble's equalizers often lackluster in the river. They could maybe do with trying to find a fight in the jungle before the Drake comes up, but I don't think that's a realistic expectation.
See how the setup comes down here, because I think this could be a bit of a make or break moment for LGD. I think, again, that Infernal Soul's looming heavily here, but they will be in first position. They do have their own go buttons, and a big lilting lullaby can make a difference. Burdol, this is the same position we saw LGD win a fight last time, Munch.
He's just turned mega. There we go. Great opportunity. Two slammed into the wall. LNG sent away. It's only hung damaged so far as Scout moves in from the side, and Burdol is about to turn mini. As the Drake comes up, Scout aggressed upon, but has that shield, so won't take too much damage there. And LGD now, their engage tools are on cooldown. Their Meganar is on cooldown. Can they actually contest at this point? Equalizer comes down, the poke damage not really sticking from LNG here. We're just going to go into the pit and go for the 50-50, and it lands for LNG. That's Infernal Soul. Can they survive the fight this time around? Full retreat as they try and escape 1-for-1 so far. Zika next to fall as it's 2 for LGD. Gala, he's not retreating. He's looking for a little bit more.
Wants it.
1v4 from Gala here, but the Mystic shots go wide. He can't quite find those skill shots. Meteor jumps on forward, flashes away from Shaoye, dives on it, but goes down! Gala finds the one-on-one against Shaoye. Scout forced to flash now. Haichao will find a bonus. Gala just going for way too much.
That's 4 down for LNG. That's 2 dragon fights in a row where LNG come away with the dragon, but they lose bodies left and right. That will be a permanent buff of the Infernal Soul, though, and that is massive for this style of composition that LNG have brought. There is going to be a bit of a trade in gold back from it, though, as the outer tower taken down by Meteor. Really, really good fighting from Haichao there. He's on 4 items now. He is the strength, it feels like, for LGD.
I mean, I feel like Gala just went a little bit insane at the end of the play as well. LNG had the full retreat, essentially, but went back in. Let's take another look at the start, at least.
Yeah. We do see that they are okay after that initial engage goes down. This is where LNG thrive. The poke from Gala, like you'll see right here with the Essence Fluff damage, he gets JinJiao down hugely, but it's the go buttons actually from LGD, and Burdol kind of threatening on the back here that sustains the fight as we go through.
Haichao dives into the back of the pit and just gets DPS onto Meteor, onto WeiWei, sorry. JinJiao barely surviving. But then at this point, LNG could just retreat. Gala doesn't have to fight.
No, that ain't Gala's name. He's writing that new page in the book, Munch. We're going straight to the new page, though. Baron up.
Baron is very much up. They're going to have another smite fight on our hands. Meteor gets into the pit, gets the Baron. LNG just 50-50 it. And now with Infernal Soul, can they actually win a team fight? They've not been able to win a team fight basically all game long. And LGD are doing it again. Meteor dives on in, lilting lullaby on 2. Gala cleanses it. Here's your 1v4 again, Gala. Can he turn it around this time? Not this time either. The Dream Laden bow swinging around. And Meteor moving into the base. Are they going to end the game?
No way! NIP did it last night. They doubled their wins on the Rumble stage. And LGD, they're looking at bot lane right now, Munch. They're looking to take down LNG game 1.
I can't believe what I'm witnessing. LNG get Infernal Soul, lose 2 back-to-back fights, flip Baron, and lose the game instantly. I mean, LGD, incredible punishment of LNG's mistakes here. Fantastic fighting through and through, like consistently winning those 5v5s. They've got to be happy with a result like that.
I just love that everything works out for LGD. Like, they were literally losing for a majority of that game. Some masterful fights coming out against a team that should be at the top of the Rumble stage here in Group Ascend, and Haichao having a hell of an opening game.
Yeah, I mean, Haichao had so much freedom in those fights to just fire away. We'll see if he's allowed to get something like the Tristana 2 games in a row. We're going to jump into a break and then head to game 2.